while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.
So welcome to April 27th in Calgary. Everything you've seen here, snow-wise, has fallen in the last hour and a half. We are getting slammed here in Calgary. That's what's coming off the roof. I'm on the protected side of my house, but the wind is easily 60 mile an hour here. We're getting just hammered. And of course Maddie, she doesn't seem to mind it too much down there. She just doesn't care about weather. She will be outside and play in it no matter how cold it is. And as you see, it's hard to follow her, but she just has fun chasing the snowflakes around. Yeah, so that was kind of the main point, was to get my pretty little girl on the video here, and she's having herself just a ball chasing snowflakes. Hey guys and girls, welcome back to YYC Designz RC Creations. I'm Twist, and we are in the little shop. Behind me, over my shoulder there, you can see my job board. So that's kind of what we got going on. A lot of ink on that board, yeah? Anyway, I gotta apologize again. I had some issues. I was trying some new techniques. They didn't work. I screwed up some parts, had to remake the parts, and I've had to do some extra work on the side to keep the shop open so that I could pick up the supplies and materials I need. Just didn't have quite the money I needed to keep going with some stuff. I needed parts for I still need parts for several different vehicles, but that's an ongoing thing. But I really did need parts to continue going, and more, I needed materials to keep going. And materials, they ain't cheap, right? So I just didn't have anything to video between my little screw up on a new technique I was trying and saving up a few bucks for materials. I missed getting a video out to y'all last week, which I do apologize for. Anyway, there is a few different things that are going to come up on this video. I'll tell you right off, we're going to do a little Dodgezilla, we're going to do a little root beer, and I'm going to show you a truck that I've got that I did not make. I did make parts for it, but I didn't make the truck. It was something that my beautiful Tams picked up for me, and y'all are going to see that here in this video as well. So it's kind of a combination video. It's all 110, and it's pretty well all scratch built except for a D90 Land Rover that pops up in the video here that I'm going to show y'all. So let's get going, yeah? We're in the little shop. We're going to stay in the little shop for the most part here. And if you guys would prefer I just stick with one vehicle on a video, please comment, let me know below. It's hard to tell which y'all like to watch. So, you know, I'm not Kreskin. I can't guess what y'all are into. So if you don't mind seeing a few different vehicles in one video or a few different projects in one video, let me know. If you want me to stick with just one specific project, let me know that too. And that way I can change how I do things and make a better video. So just had to take a minute here, guys and girls, and show you a couple of cool things here. I got a, I received a shirt from Cy down at Old Iron RC, one of his Wrecker Life t-shirts. Thank you, Cy. The shirt just fits like a glove. It is wicked, brother. Couldn't resist putting it right next to my new design for the shop here and my long sleeve shirt, which I also received today. So this is a little rig that I like to call loose change. Now this is a body that my beautiful Tams bought me for Christmas. Besides my camera, she bought me this, and she bought me a RC four-wheel drive 110. This is of course a Team Raffi body and has the opening doors, the moving mirrors, opening hood, which one of these days I may put a motor in there. Actually, there is a motor I do want to put in there that I really like, but of course I've got to save the money, and there's more important things right now. I have other projects that need the money more, because this one of course is now running. So out here in the big shop, I'm working on some steel framing for Dodgezilla. Now this is the grill, which obviously needs a little bit more shaping and a little bit more work. Basically what I'm trying to do is give the body now some rigidity and some strength. So I've taken some 1/4-inch steel rod, and basically I'm making a frame so that I can have everything weld up together. It'll give the grill the support it needs and lined up properly. It also will allow the hood to sit down properly with the grill, and it gives it something solid to land on. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make this so that it's an opening hood model, though I got to talk to Lee about that. And in any case, I'm going to need this steel frame support. Now another one will come along here to hold the front fenders on, so that everything starts going together rather nicely. Yeah, but for now the one for the grill is done, so that's going to take me from the grill back. Now I've just finished the cab one, or part of it anyway. So what it is like I say, it's just 1/4-inch steel solid rod stock. Now I curved it to fit the back cab panel, okay, and that will give the metal roof some support. And then obviously I've got to bend it out a little bit, but now I can curve it down and get the windshield pillars straight. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I've got them bent here. Now, I've got it on its back because, of course, the side cab panels here aren't attached, the roof isn't attached. That's why my infamous Coke can is holding the roof on, but you can see the angle. The roof isn't exactly in its proper position. But at least this gives you an idea that it's going to start looking like a cab anyway, yeah? I'm going to cut the back window out. The cab side panels will get attached here, and of course the roof will get attached all to this frame. Now the frame, I've only got it coming down to here so far. Now I'm going to bring it down. It's just I have to decide where I'm going to put the floor, or at least the part of the floor, so that Lee can be able to mount this as well as the box to the chassis, because of course the box mounts separately from the cab, and so both need to be mounted. The box is easy, you drill some holes in it and off you go, but the floor of the cab now is a different matter, and that's why everything's a little bit on the long side here, is because I don't yet quite know exactly where I'm going to make my cutoff and put in a floor so that Lee can bolt it onto the truck, yeah? And it has its own frame. So now what's going to happen, just so y'all can understand where I'm going with this, is once I decide how long I need these windshield pillars to be, then I will cut these off and I will bring through the pieces coming this way that will attach onto this corner and this corner of the front grille support, and ergo that is how I get structure over the whole body, because that will allow me to hang the fenders, it allows me to hang the grill, and it gives me a place to put the hood. And of course across here gives me a place to mount the hood at the back or hinge it, as the case may be. I put in a little cowl panel. Okay, so as you can see on the bench here, we got a couple different things happening. I just got to adjust something here to hopefully make it better for y'all. There we go. Just had to readjust the light a little bit. So we got root beer on the left here, and we have Dodgezilla on the right. Now I'm going to start with Dodgezilla. And as you can see, the hood I haven't done yet. She's just getting ready to go into the second stage so that I can refinish her and get her ready to go into primer. The grill, the same thing. Now, I did want to explain one thing to y'all. I do work in metal. Y'all know that, right? So, on Dodgezilla here and on Root Beer's box, yeah, you're seeing some Bondo. That is how I smooth out and get such a nice finish on the vehicles, as I do use Bondo, yeah? On Root Beer, I've just been doing that on the box, and that's where I started anyway, and I'm going to be doing some work further on up. Now, I've got Dodgezilla's fenders here attached, or at least, you know, because I made the fenders in two pieces. So I've got the fenders attached here so that now it's all one fender. I do have to put in a body line here. Now, I use a little different method of attaching, and that's what cost me so much, is the solder that I use for attaching those fenders. But what I wanted to explain to y'all was getting the panels smooth. Now, the grill is a good example, okay? Now, it's not finished, and there are some rough spots in it, and I've got to do a little bit more work on it here before it can even go into the second step, or actually it's more like the third step, which is kind of a Bondo step. Now, this is the special solder I use. It's a unique little mix. I'm not gonna release that because that's one of my little trade secrets, but that is how I attach the fenders to their other halves, or sometimes how I attach parts to parts. When I make these two-part fenders, I have to attach them together to get one whole piece, yeah? So I do that with a special mix of solder that I get, and it is rather expensive stuff, so you don't want to screw around with it, and you don't want to make mistakes with it. And I happened to run out, and that's one of the things that I needed to buy. Now, y'all are seeing this here. It's looking a little bit like a genie in a bottle, yeah? Well, it isn't. Actually, what it is it's an oil that's in a bottle. Now, I'm just going to reach up here real quick and grab a lighter, and we're going to give her a little light. Now, so I can show y'all how I do this, okay, this is one thing I will give away, is what I do is, as you see this thing, I hope you can see it pouring off this black smoke. Well, that's intentional, yeah? Now, I'm not going to do it on the grill, actually. I'll find a scrap piece of something here. I'll use an old chunk of wood here. Now, what I do is I run it over the black smoke, and as you see, the black smoke coats it, yeah? So, once the black smoke coats it, I can then take a rag and rub it off. And of course, this doesn't have any, but it would show up highs and lows, okay? And so that is how I determine where I need to do a little bit more hammer and dolly work on a given part, like the grill. Actually, I will show you. Actually, no. I was going to show you, but it's hard to do it with one hand and wipe it all off and that sort of jazz. But you saw what it did with the wood. It does that on the metal even better. You give it a light little dust with a rag, and it'll show where you've got low spots, high spots, whatever I'm looking for. And then I can smooth that out with hammer and dolly, give it a wipe, re-smoke it, give it the wipe again, and you know, if I'm good enough, like the hood, then I can go right into the third step, which is adding a very little light coat of Bondo like I did with the roof here. Now this has got to be sanded down quite a bit yet, okay, but I wanted to show you where I am right now. And yeah, I use a lot of hockey pucks around here. Hockey pucks are cheap, and it doesn't matter. I can cut them so that I can have specific shapes if I want. And if you bugger one up, you've really only buggered up $2 instead of those expensive RC stands. I use hockey pucks. Okay, so what I did want to show you while she's standing is to show you the Dodgezilla's fenders. They're done, they're soldered on, and I can continue working with them. So Lee, there's your left and right front fenders. We'll get on to the box next. What I wanted to show y'all next here though is the cab. We're going to take her off the hockey pucks, and I've got the cab started here. Really getting good with the cab. We've got the steel cage mounted inside. This being the steel cage that I was referring to, yeah. We've got it soldered inside and ready to go. Now the reason I soldered it is because if I apply too much heat, aka oxyacetylene welding, I'm going to warp the snot out of this 20 gauge tin. And it's not that I can't weld it, it's that I get too much warpage out of it. So I find it better to just use the propane torch and a little bit of solder, and I solder my parts in instead of welding them in. Welding just creates way too much heat. The solder, I'm running about 900 degrees, and if I'm really careful, I can do it without too much warpage on any of the parts. Welding, I'm well over 1200 degrees, and it just creates so much warpage. So there's as far as I've gotten with the cab on Dodgezilla. I've got her frame in, and we started doing some smoothing work with the Bondo, and we'll continue on. I've got a lot of sanding to do on this. I got to take a lot of this off yet, sand her down, and then she'll be ready for paint. But she already went through what I call stage 2, the smoking process. That is going to happen now on Dodgezilla's box. I've got the fenders marked out. She's a pretty smooth box, so this one isn't going to be bad overall. But the hood's the same way. It's fairly smooth, but it does have a couple of little dents and dings in her, yeah. And I've got to straighten those out. So what I will do is I'll smoke them, get those straightened out, smoke it again, and then it goes into the Bondo stage, which is where I am at also with Root Beer here. I have just kind of mocked her up here so you can kind of see where she's at, Rob. I've got her front rad support up here because I got to do some work to it. It has finally been smoked, and it's ready to be smoothed out. Not smoothed out, it's ready to go on stage 2 for the Bondo. But first I will be cutting out the design that goes in the front, the 5 bars that go into the front. Those got to get cut out, and then she'll go into Bondo, and then she'll go on to being prepped. Now I do have the box here prepped and ready to go, but at the moment it's kind of holding the model up. So I'm going to take one camera and move you around and show you your box. Okay, now it's a nice deep box. I know y'all, because we had discussed it, want to run 3S LiPo. So there's where your batteries are going to go. I'm going to make you a really cool battery compartment in there, and you'll still have basically about half of this left over as usable box, so you can put in accessories or whatever you want to do in your box. And the tailgate will hide her all so that you never see the batteries when Root Beer is running together. Or y'all can run stubby pack underneath the seat. You and I got to talk. We got to decide which way y'all want to go with it. Now, her front end, however, I know it looks a little crooked. It is, because nothing's attached here, okay? It's all loose, held on, obviously, by clamps, okay? But basically, the frame is all nice and straight. That's the important part. Your fenders are also soldered. They are getting ready to go into the smoking process and being smoothed out. So I got you all soldered together. I've already got your box smoked and through into the Bondo stage. Just doing the sanding on it, and then she'll get one final coat and she's off to primer. This is going to all start happening really quickly, because this does not take me terribly long, and we can start doing the cab as well, and your fenders, the hood, doors, the whole bit. But she is really starting to look like a 29 Diamond T here, and she is going to look a lot sexier real soon. I met a new cat. His name is Sluicebox Steve. He is not with Aaron and RC Sparks and RC Sparks Reboot, but he is buddies with him, and he ends up in a lot of Aaron's videos over at RC Sparks and RC Sparks Reboot. So, but his name is Sluicebox Steve. He does have his own channel, and you can find it in mine. I'm subscribed to him, Sluicebox Steve, and of course you also can find RC Sparks and RC Sparks Reboot. I don't know too many people who aren't subscribed to those channels, but if you're not, check them out. They are wicked, family-friendly channels. A lot of great content going on there, guys. So anyway, Sluicebox Steve and I were talking about, finishes and all of that stuff, and it was funny. He was kind of the last guy that I've spoken with lately, just because he came over to the shop here about a week and a half ago, and he ordered a set of bumpers that are going to be in a video series coming up here real quick. He has got a really sexy new rig he's building, guys. It is going to be off the charts. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. I'm just saying she is going to be a really wicked, sexy little build. That's why I'm suggesting to check out Sluicebox Steve's channel, because y'all are going to see one really sexy rig coming out of him. He's building something that is just way cool. Anyway, he was about last in line of like 50 guys who have asked me, Twist, how do you get your bodies so smooth and all that, so that they're not all, rat rod looking, and instead they're shiny and sweet looking. Anyway, this is how I do it. Now you know. Okay, so that's gonna about do it, other than I do have one more question that I have to answer. I've been getting a lot of questions about this. Funny what people notice when you put yourself on video. Anyway, no, it's not that I'm all about bling and being into guy jewelry. I'm not really there. I mean, yeah, okay, I do have the rings and watch and a couple other pieces. So yeah, I am into a little bit, but I'm not heavy into the bling. It's just that when I lost my beautiful Tams, the funeral home had a cool little thing. They do a dog tag, and on one side it has her fingerprint on it, so that it's a little piece of her forever that is unique to Tams, and I carry her with me always. Basically, this never comes off, and that's why all of a sudden it started showing up. On the other side, it has a little saying that we always used to say to each other in reference to being in love with each other. It was always and forever. So fingerprint one side, always and forever engraved on the other side. So that answers that as well for y'all. I think I've got all the questions. Yeah, it was just a good time. Guys had started seeing, like the little red and the fiberglass job, and They wondered how I got everything so smooth and so on, and so I figured, why not show you how I do it? There's no big secret to it. Anyhow, that's going to be it for this one, guys and girls. Apologies about not getting this out to you last week. Just my budget wouldn't allow it, yeah? Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and share it with your friends. And y'all have a great work week, and we'll see you in the next one. Next coming up is probably going to be some on... oh, actually, I almost forgot. The next thing coming up is going to be Sluice Box Steve's bumpers. We're going to be building those. And we are going to start building Warthog very, very soon. That'll be coming up in the next week or two as well. It is going to be a very cool vehicle that Clay Kratz from EMF Bearings and Suspension Components has commissioned me to do. And so that's also going to be coming up here in the very near future. So we've got a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of cool stuff coming up. So keep watching, and make sure you hit that little bell down there so that you get notified of all the new videos. Have a great work week, guys and girls. Take care. We'll see ya.